right, let's go to Daniel in Lexington, Kentucky. What's up, Daniel? How we doing?
Pretty good. How you doing, Dr. Delony?
Good, man. Good. So what's up?
So, I guess my main question I have for you is, how do I deal with the disgust I have toward my dad?
Oh, man, right when you said, how do I started to sing that song, but this is actually a serious question, man. How do I live? So, tell me why are you disgusted with your dad?
Well, first of all, I got to say the story is like an onion. There is just layer upon layer upon layer. So I'll try to tell pretty much everything in under a couple of minutes or so.
Cool.
So I'm 29. I'm a husband, father of 3. My dad is a sex addiction therapist. 2 years ago, he cheated on my mom with one of his clients in his office. At the time, he was 63 years old. She was 29. So as a result, my mom divorced my dad. They were married for 43 years. And there's some important details about his mistress. So after this all happened, I learned that she served an 8-year prison sentence for sexual enticement of a minor. And after she served her prison time, she was ordered by a judge to receive psychotherapy, which is why she was seeing my dad. So the story behind why she went to prison in the first place is that at one point she was working as a prostitute and exposed herself to 2 12-year-old boys. So it gets worse. So when she was young, she was in a car accident and it left her with some residual brain damage. So I've met her in person and she still struggles with some executive brain function. I'm not a psychologist, but I would say she has the cognitive function of a 13-year-old person, probably, which just adds to how unethical this was.
Okay.
So shockingly, my dad decided to marry this woman. And even to this day, he doesn't really believe that he's done anything unethical. He justifies it by saying that it was consensual. So I will say that he's been reported to the licensing division, and there's an investigation going on right now. So here's what I really need help with. So I feel a lot of disgust towards my dad and really the entire situation. I feel a lot of resentment and I feel abandoned and betrayed. But if I'm really honest with myself, I also miss him deeply from my life and my kids' lives as well. So I haven't spoken to him in about 5 months, and I'm just wondering, where do I go from here?
I'm sorry, man. On 50 different counts, I'm sorry. This is a messy situation that is much simpler than it feels and much heavier than you probably think it's going to be over the long term. Okay. The chance that this was the first time this happened is virtually zero.
Oh, I know it's not the first time it's happened.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So it's very rare that somebody who deals in the intimacy of other people's lives, who is a person of this kind of character, wouldn't have done this multiple times. And that you get 4 or 5 drinks and your mom, she might tell you all about some stories that have happened along the years, right?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. That's not going to change where you find yourself. You find yourself disgusted with the guy. Let me tell you where a lot of us don't realize how deep this disgust goes. Because as much as we don't want to think about it or believe it, or we don't even consider it, we all know deep down that half of us is mom and half of us is dad. And if he is capable of this, what am I capable of? Because I'm part of him and he's part of me. Right? Yeah. And it's unnerving. It makes it particularly close. And then you throw in on top the confusion of, I actually like the guy and I miss him being around, but he's also disgusting. And then you just find yourself in this vortex, right?
Yeah.
So here's the heartbreaking thing. He has opted out of your life, not the other way around.
Yeah, I think that's true.
He opted out of your mom's life. He opted out of your life. And he's thrown away his entire career. He's going to be found guilty. Right. We know that. He'll be found guilty because they're going to take his text messages, they're going to take his emails, they're going to take all of his clinical records and probably dig up the times this has happened in the past. So it's it will be a hurricane, cha-cha storm, diarrhea storm coming down the road. And he walked into it all, right? And
Yeah.
I have a very little sympathy for somebody in his case because people come to him and they're most vulnerable. And they come to him with a particularly vulnerable thing, which is I'm addicted to relationship, right? And he abused that. And so I don't got a lot. I'm disgusted by him too. Let me say that.
Yeah, and I mean that's why I view her as a victim, really, in this situation. I mean, I feel bad for her on some level. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, she went to a professional for help and took advantage of that help. So the thing you can do is walk away, and after you walk away, any choice you make to go back and be redisgusted is a choice you're making to be more miserable in the present. And I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no sense in poisoning yourself. You do have to reckon with that guy's part of me. And what am I doing in my life that could ever even have the faintest trail into the woods that would lead me down a path like this?
Sure.
Right? Is there anything in yourself that makes you uncomfortable, or is this just your dad off the rails?
I think it's mainly just my dad. You know.
Okay. It often when our parents do things, there's echoes inside of us.
Yeah, I think the what makes it particularly difficult is growing up. I always thought of him as, for the most part, a really good father, teaching good values, and so after this has happened, it's sort of like, well, was all that fake? Was all that an act? Like those are the thoughts that are going through my mind. Like, were those things that I was even taught, was it even real? Because the person who taught it to me just totally went the opposite direction, And
you're 29 right now?
Yeah.
Is that right? You'd be having these thoughts anyway. Like 20, 27, 28 to 33, 35, that's when you start pulling the thread on, is this real? And because you start moving up the professional ladder and you look behind the curtain and you realize, oh, my boss doesn't know what he's doing at all. And your doctor has a different conversation. They're like, I don't know, man, I got to go check with a colleague. And you think, I thought y'all know everything, right? So this is the season when everything, like your friend gets fired or your wife gets fired or something like that. So this is the season when everything starts unwinding a little bit, and then the thing you were anchored into, the man that you anchored into, turns out he wasn't concrete, he's just a mist, right? And the temptation is to throw everything out. Don't do that. If he gave you good wisdom and good values, even though he wasn't using them, honor those things, right?
Yeah.
But you're married?
Yeah.
Okay. You ever cheat on your spouse, on your wife?
No.
Don't. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I won't.
I know, but don't.
Yeah.
We learn our behaviors, right?
Right.
And cheating starts with keeping secrets. And cheating starts with flirting here in the office. And cheating starts, right? See what I'm saying? So I want you to pull the thread on those. You're suddenly going, these are when our parents screw up, it echoes through us. Okay. Not to say that you're a sex criminal, which is what I think your dad is, but you do have these echoes in your own soul. Okay. And man, you're gonna have to walk away. He left you, and now you're just standing there. You got to go be about your life. And I know that's so hard, man. Here's the way, like tactically, here's how we do this. Number one, you're going to write him a letter. Okay. And it might be one that you consider mailing to him. Okay. Normally we write these letters, and it's not one of rage and anger and out of some superiority. It's out, but feel free to let him know, like, you broke my heart, man, because you didn't tell the truth. And you've been cheating on mom for years, and you left mom for somebody who's psychologically not well. It's cognitive deficiencies. And you chose to walk away from my family, and let him know. I mean, put it in writing. until you make different choices. And here's what those are going to be. You've opted out of being around my family and your grandkids and fill in the blank. And I'm going to miss you terribly. And I hate that you made these choices. And let him know. But
Okay.
my thought is, if you
All
sat
right.
down and had a conversation with him, he's probably good enough on his feet, and you would leave that pretty confused. Is that right?
Yeah, we've had those conversations before, and it just feels as if nothing really sticks.
He's
Like
probably a
nothing
good
really.
talker. Yeah, he can loop you up and spin you in
Yeah.
circles, right? Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that's his career. That's his craft. That's who he is.
Right.
Yeah, I'd write it down, man. And then at some point, you're gonna have to write yourself a letter,
Hmm.
you to you, and be really upset, be really honest about the good stuff he gave you, and then be really clear about what you're gonna do next.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
And then some days you're going to wake
Yeah.
up and just miss him like crazy. And that's what your boundaries are for. You're not going to reach out. You're not going to text him. You're going to have somebody else to call. You're going to call your wife. You're going to have already thought that through. And some days you're going to wake up and be so enraged and pissed off. Or some days you're going to wake up and your mom's going to have texted you and just like with a long text or a short text, and it's going to break your heart and you're going to get so pissed. And all of those feelings are okay. The real question is, what are you going to do after that?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And when those feelings pop into your head and you have those moments, more than 5 seconds on them is a choice. I'm going to just choose I'm going to make cereal and I'm just going to pee in it just cause I'm just going to eat that for breakfast. Like it's just a choice. Like it's just a strange, bizarre choice. Or when those lightning bolts pop into our head, we can go, oh my gosh, that guy's the worst. My wife is incredible. I'm so grateful for this home that I live in. I'm so grateful I'm sitting in an office right now. I'm a fortunate guy. And then we're going to go about our day that way. And that's something you're going to practice over time. It's going to be hard. Sorry this happened to you, man. I can't imagine finding this out about my father. I can't, because I'm anchored into him. I can't imagine finding this out. I'm sorry this happened, brother. It's very simple. You got to have the boundaries, and it's going to be very, very hard over a long period of time. Holler at me as you go, man. And I'm here to walk with you.